Hey traders, welcome to Charts and Coffee. Hope everyone is doing great. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We have a shortened week, so this is the second trading day of the week, second of four. However, just keep in mind, gang, as we wind down to Good Friday, we still have this very odd and irksome non-farm payroll that's going to be released on Friday morning. Now, as a currency trader, as a futures trader, as I track macro, as many of you do, that rate of change macro that is oh so important, understanding the jobs picture, namely what's been 6 to probably 9 months, 2 to 3 quarters of pretty darn good jobs numbers are leading to a very optimistic expectation for earnings this season. There's a lot of implications to that release. So it's a kind of odd week where, yeah, trading against Thursday, but not really. So I'll let you all know later on this week what I have planned for Friday. We will have charts and coffee, and I'm debating whether or not we just have a non-farm payroll session so we can talk about what's going on with that rather important release. All right, gang. So again, good morning. Good morning. Great to see everyone. Let's take a quick lap through our indices, starting with the S&P. We'll just use this as sort of a touchstone for what's going on with the Dow and the Nas. And what we have here is yet another higher high. We're going to open up with what's known as a true gap this morning, which is to say we're opening above the previous session close and high, a true gap. All right, the 6E, not as strong as I would like to see. Obviously, 6E being strong is that look at the US dollar. When we have a strong 6E, we have a weak greenback. But I will say, take a look here at the multi-trend. This is the accuracy and simplicity with which we can say something is neutral momentum, neutral trend, bullish momentum, bullish trend, bearish momentum, bearish trend. The top row of colors is the momentum. The bottom row of colors is the trend. And if you take a look here, we've been in an uptrend since specifically the 22nd of March. So it's hard to be bullish the dollar if we're seeing an uptrend on the euro. In fact, it's impossible that the euro and the dollar move together, right? So if euro's heading higher, dollar's heading lower, just not a strong open today. And then finally, a quick look at the Treasury. So I'll take a quick lap through the market using S&P, the 6E, which not only gives me an idea of what the European Central Bank is doing, but also how the US dollar is moving. And then I'll also take a look at Treasuries using the ZB. If you like the 10-year, use the ZN. It really doesn't matter. If you're a bigger fan of the 2-year, especially since there are certain implications with Fed Fund futures, use the ZT. Use a Z something, right? BNT, it really doesn't matter. This is the long end of the yield curve, and it is reflecting a rejection. This is important, gang, at the 200 propulsion. That's the 8-period exponential moving average, and the reaction, the crossing it has with the 200. Here it's simpler. We have an indicator called the propulsion, for those of you that are not familiar with it. It's a cool indicator. I've always called it a smart EMA. It's been part of my TOPS toolkit since 2016, I guess it is now. It's going back that far. Wow. And so what it does, and by the way, this is a free tool. So if you're in one of the rooms, I've already given you all a layout with all my free tools on it. You can check it out in the room drive of the futures room, the options room, my sector secrets mastery, folks. You all have a hopped up version of it with a few cool extra things, but I've got that free layout there. Propulsion is part of it. So when the 8 exponential moving average crosses the 200 and interacts with price in a specific way, the dots turn on. And when the dots are on, lo and behold, price tends to respect those levels more, right? And so 200 were rejected there for now. I would not expect that to last very long. At some point, ZB is looking like, with the amount of bullish momentum we see here, that it's ready to turn into an uptrend. All right. So let's get to it. I have to take a quick lap through the market there. Let's jump into the questions. First up, hey there, Ann. Not a question, but a quick comment. My Sunday report was entertaining and educational. If nothing else, Ann, I hope not to be boring. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. We do that every Sunday. So some of you might have noticed the Sunday show is This Week in the Market with moi. And we're going to talk about macro and the calendar and trends and all of the things that I elaborate on in the reboot of This Week in the Market. You can check it out. I'm hoping the trial will be back and up later on this week. And the last two issues, the March 24 and the March 31 issue, are available in that part of the member dashboard. My Sector Secrets Mastery folks, the last two issues, I threw the PDF into the room drive, so you can check it out there. Thanks, Ann. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Hey there, Jet Jockey. I keep failing to catch and ride the wave on many trade opportunities. Jet Jockey, that's okay. The wave, just for those folks who don't know what it is, it's the 34 EMA on the high, the close, the low. It's a mean reversion. And here's the important part for a trend. If we don't have a trend, then don't worry about it. And when we have the kind of volatility that we've been dealing with the last month, remember, March was a historic month. We had the bank crisis. We had one of the most extreme pendulum swings on target rate probabilities. In other words, where was the Fed going to take rates? One of the most extreme swings I've seen in a while, in a very short period of time. And then, everything that went into the post-banking crisis, the contagion fears, everything. So March was a month of volatility. And because of that, March really was all about price movement ranges, using the HPMR, the hourly price movement range, and the DPMR, the daily price movement range. So we really focused on price movement volatility zones as opposed to mean reversions to price levels, right? So that's okay. As we go into April, though, we're going to start using the 34 EMA wave and mean reversions in trending markets more. Just wanted to put that on the back burner while we were dealing with some of the most volatile and uncertain markets we've seen in some time. All right. So in terms of I was doing better on day trades. Yeah, I think the day trading allowed us to use the volatility of the, I think the day trades allowed us to use the volatility to have that very short time frame that I like to focus on and allow us to get in and get out, usually within a 1 or 2 hour window, which is really my preference. All day trading means is we're going to be flat at the end of the day, right? Okay, so you got a few symbols here. XLE, we're bullish in. Exxon, we're bullish in. These were both setups we discussed in the Sector Secrets Mastery. Why we're seeing a lot of movement. If you caught the Q2 sector rotation video that I shared with you all on Friday, this movement is going to make a lot of sense in terms of where we're seeing flow, right? And then as far as Bank of America goes, it's tricky to be too bullish in financials yet because of the state of XLF. If there's going to be strength in banks, it'll likely be at the big bank level, meaning XLF stocks, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells, Morgan, etc. There's a number of stocks in XLF that are at least starting to give us more of a neutral look. And so I am looking at XLF. I don't know that it's benefiting from quite yet from sort of the bargain hunting, bottom picking that we often do see at the beginning of Q2. NVIDIA has been on, in fuego. We still see quite a bit of strength in tech. Why? If for no other reason, gang, remember, tech isn't somewhere that we're hiding out necessarily. It's just it's one of the rare places amongst the major averages, Dow, S&P, NAS, that has negligible weighting in financials, right? S&P has the weighting of the XLF, the big banks. Dow has the weighting of the XLF, the big banks. The Russell is saddled with the worst situation because it's weighted with the regional banks KRE is the ETF for that. So if you think about the one place where we don't have weighting, there's the NAS. And that's why we see certain stocks within the NAS and certain corners of tech, like semiconductors, doing as well as they are. Consumer discretionary is a corner of tech that's often not talked about because we don't automatically assume consumer discretionary means tech, when in reality, consumer discretionary is largely Amazon and Tesla. So because of that weighting with Amazon and Tesla, we have this tracking with the NAS quite strongly. And so be careful with that, because be careful with XLY, because Tesla's having a moment and Amazon still hasn't gotten the traction above the 200 that I would like to see for a stock to be in the bullish hemisphere. All right. Next up is, hey there, Penelope. I really want your multi-trend on my charts. Where can I purchase that? I've looked in the simpler store and cannot find it. Penelope, there's a couple ways to do it. One, it's included. Trish makes sure when we put our classes together, she includes it in all my classes. So if you've taken one of my classes that has it included, you should have it. I don't know if you've taken a class. The HPMR class had it. DPMR class had it. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else, but it's been in quite a few. The other thing is, Penelope, and I don't know if this is just a well-kept secret or not, but members of my Sector Secrets Mastery also get it. So that's one of the hopped up tools I make available to my mastery. So that probably would be one of the best ways to get a hold of it, because you also get time with me in the mastery and you get those tools. All right, moving on. And I don't think we offer it as a standalone at the moment. So thank you for the question, though. We may in the future, but not now. Yeah, I don't have it as a standalone. All right, next up is hang on, gang. Just catching up with the questions here. Nike. All right. Nike on the 1 hour. Hey there, Robert. How are you? So let's talk about a short-term swing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So if I take a look at a short-term swing on Nike, and you mentioned the 1 hour, not that I'm opposed to a 5-minute or a daily, but let's take a look at the 1 hour, because the 1 hour structure, the quality of the momentum and trend, the direction of the momentum and trend is bullish. So it would be a buy, right? We would look to the long side. Here we go. Let me grab my drawing tools here. Take a look. So for those of you that are wondering, okay, Rag, I've heard you talk about the multi-trend, and Penelope had the question about the multi. This is it right here. So notice I have green momentum, and that's the top row, and green trend. That's the bottom, right? So that means I'm looking at long calls, or as I just generally will call it, buys only, right? Buys only. I can only look to the long side because that's really the path of least resistance. So taking a look then at Nike, couple ways we can do this. Do I want to go with the wave and a potential mean reversion? I don't have a problem with that. I would like to see where the next set of the DPMRs, the DPMR resistance will likely be one of the targets, but it's the DPMR support, the daily price movement range, that I'm most interested in. Those of you that just took my DPMR masterclass, you know that we have the daily price movement ranges for this symbol. It will update for today, Tuesday's volatility range. And look, Nike is a part of that XLY. And let me show you all something here. Let's pull up XLY. All right. Here we have the XLY. And the idea is, are we willing to be buyers here? XLY is doing some serious battle with the 200. So whether or not we end up in the bullish or bearish hemisphere here has yet to be seen. In the meanwhile, though, Nike is on my long watch list. McDonald's, I would also throw Starbucks on there, and TJ Maxx. The most bearish symbol in the XLY, right there, General Motors. The two most bullish symbols in XLY, hamburgers and vacations. All right. And so I do like Nike. It's at the strongest uptrend. It is not. But could we buy the DPMR support? Absolutely. Do I want to short into the resistance? It's valid, but I'd rather focus on the long side, quite frankly. There we go. I'd rather focus on the long side. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on. All right. Thoughts on Occidental? Sure. It's so funny. You mentioned Occidental, Antonio. I was just on my let me see if I have it here, my Twitter feed. Where is it here? And I hope I retweeted it because it was hilarious and it was true. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, it's twitter.com/Raghee Horner. In fact, it's Raghee Horner, my first and last name, no spaces, no dashes, no numbers. Please know, if you run into a DM from me, from quote unquote me, that isn't just Raghee, no space, no underscore, no dash, no numbers, nothing. It's just Raghee Horner. If you get any kind of DM with anything else other than that, it's not me, I'm afraid. But let's see here. There we go. Here's your Occidental chart, Antonio. I loved this. Occidental Petroleum. I just did some technical analysis on Occidental. Very, very interesting indicator. What do you think? Look at that. That's for those of you who may not be able to see this, that's Grandpa Buffett. That's it. That's all you gotta say, Antonio. So what I would do, it's okay, Rog. I know it's funny. I thought that was awesome and pretty darn true. But what we want to do then, and let me show you the way we would break this down. Let's open up Trading View. All right, let's open up Trading View. Let's bring up Occidental here. And I would say, if we're looking at Occidental, bring up, let's go to the daily time frame. Okay. And when I look at what we have going on the daily, what I want to focus on, again, I just call them volume ledges. Okay. I'm sure there's fancier names for them, but I imagine price in part climbs up a ledge, right? Imagine if you're trying to scale this. It's a kind of vertical wall, right? How would you scale it? You'd go from ledge to ledge. Price oftentimes does that when we look at volume. So you'll hear me refer to that as a volume ledge. The most significant ledge is known as the point of control. It's the most volume that's occurred at a specific price. Everything else is just a lesser amount of volume that's occurred at that price. Since we know we're seeing significant activity at certain levels, I think that point of control could be very, very helpful, as could the remainder of these volume ledges, as far as folks who have already bought. Remember, these are not projections. This is a reflection of the number of shares that were transacted at that price level. So pretty interesting. We're above the 200. And I would say I would not buy here, by the way. I would not buy at the new high. This is a neutral market, right? Overbought, slow stow, coming up into some resistance levels, right? I didn't draw those straight, but coming up into some resistance. A little bit of a pullback, maybe to the point of control around 62 would be pretty darn cool. What is with the prices on my chart? It's kind of weird. Okay, that's kind of strange. Oh, I wonder if I did something to my, that's really weird. Percent regular. Anyway, so that's what we want to keep an eye on Occidental. All right, gang. Okay, as always, thank you for joining me for Charts and Coffee, our daily 9 a.m. to 9:20 show. It's time for me to jump on into the futures room and the Sector Secrets Mastery, where we will spend some time, first hour, looking at some day trades, moving on to some swing. And I'll see you all there shortly. Everyone else, I'll catch you in the next show tomorrow, same time, same station. All right, gang, be good to each other.